what would the Green Bay Packers do? Packers Wire put out an article, Zach Cruz, categorizing the Packers' roster needs entering the 2025 NFL Draft. And I got to be honest, some of these categories are interesting. Need rookie contributors, need developmental players. Well, apparently that list was longer than I anticipated because I'm still scrolling down to the next one. Need position depth / competition. Of those things, and then they have no clear need. These are positions where they don't have an obvious short or long-term need. Chewy, for clarification's sake, the no clear need list includes safety and running back for your Green Bay Packers, as well as kicker and punter. You agree with that? Is there anything else that should be on that list?
Quarterback.
Okay. You're good with Love and Willis?
Yeah. I thought Willis did excellent last year. Is he a free agent after this year?
He will be a free agent after this year.
Yeah, so then maybe you pick something up in the 5th, 6th round?
Yeah, something like that.
Now, I want to be clear on this. I don't love needing rookie contributors anywhere. I don't love that you're relying on somebody who is just setting foot in the league to be a full-time contributor, major contributor. My preference would be to sort of do what Gabe has talked about in the past, which is conveyor belt your way through that thing, to have backfilled at the position so that you have capable but also experienced-ish, from a varying stance, in each position, and then you can spot start rookies as needed.
But
that's my preference.
Yeah, but that's just not the reality of what the NFL is. Like, every team has places where they need rookie contributors. Even the team that won the Super Bowl last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, had a need at cornerback, shotgun approached it, took a couple guys early who were starters for them on a Super Bowl winning team.
And I think it all worked out really well for them. I just don't know that every team is going to have that luxury of having the needing them to play meaningful minutes, and then also nailing the draft picks. I think it's more of a crapshoot.
Correct. But, I mean, every team has a place on their roster where they need rookie contributors.
Isn't that receiver specific, though? Isn't that what they're really talking about? They need to pick a receiver early, and he's got to contribute.
Yes.
If you got no Christian Watson to start off the season. I know you picked up Hardman, but it wasn't a strength last year. So I think that's what they're saying is, yes, you need a receiver, and you need a receiver that can catch 60 balls this year.
And so this article does have wide receiver as need rookie contributor. Again, these are positions where the Packers likely need a rookie to play right away. But you didn't need to be in this position. You could have gone out and gotten a veteran wide receiver, Davante Adams specifically, so that you weren't relying on a rookie to go out there and make an impact. Look, we all thought that Jayden Reed, when he set foot on the field, had an immediate impact. But it's like anything else, the league adjusts. The league figures out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and wants to exploit those weaknesses. And I think we have talked about it on this program. That is some of what contributed to Jayden Reed's struggles last season. And again, was he still really, really good? I think he was. But he obviously had limitations that the league was trying to take advantage of. So again, you didn't have to be in this position with wide receiver as a position of immediate need with a rookie, Gabe. That's my only feedback on, yes, they obviously need somebody now because of the injury to Christian Watson and because the way that the role is where you just obviously need multiple guys on the field at the same time. But you didn't have to rely on a rookie if you had gone a different way in free agency.
Yeah, you could have gotten one of the veterans that were out there, certainly. But they still need, even if they go out and get Davante Adams, I would have liked a receiver early because I guess I'm not with you. I think Jayden Reed's fine. Chewy, you saw the list. What was he, ranked the 46th best receiver?
45th. Yeah, 45th.
Yeah, that ain't good enough.
It puts him at a mid-2. But I think they really like him in the slot. I think they like him more as a Randall Cobb than a Jordy Nelson. I know he's still young. He's got 2 years. But this year will be very, very instrumental in what they're going to do with him in the future.
But to that point, and we have talked about this a lot, Joshy, a lot of the top-tier wide receivers are also slot receivers or have also spent significant time as slot receivers. I know the book on Emeka Egbuka is that he could also play outside, right?
Yeah, those are the best receivers, the ones that you can just move around and are going to be chess pieces.
But I believe most of his time was spent in the slot at Ohio State as well.
Predominantly there. Some of that is just simply based on Ohio State bringing in super athletes at wide receiver all over the field. He is capable, and his testing, despite having a little disappointing of a 40, did prove him to be a guy that should have the athleticism to function outside.
It's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, we all assume that Dobbs is going to be the Z. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be X? I mean, can Reed play X? It's kind of a different because you're always away from strength. Most times you're away from strength because the tight end is paired with Z.
Well, that's where I think, again, going back to that list, Joshy, there are only a few guys at the top tier of those receivers who are primarily X receivers with their speed and their ability to go vertical down the field. We've talked about McMillan, the kid from Ohio State. Which one?
Iowa State?
Iowa.
Are you saying, Jaden Higgins would be an X.
Yes.
Alec Manor, the kid from Stanford, would also be viewed as an X, and then Trey Harris as well. If you go deeper, Savion Williams, but it's kind of hard to project exactly what that kid's going to be. And then the next one would be Dante Thornton, which would be later, like after pick 100.
So that's what I'm saying, Shu. Like, if you're looking for an X-specific guy, it even shrinks the list even more. A lot of the names that you're seeing at the top of the list, I think they have theoretically that position on the roster. Currently, it would be figuring out how to marry them with what they have. So beyond wide receiver, they've got need developmental players. They've got defensive end and defensive tackle, which I think we all agree. They need players, period, at those positions. And again, my preference would have been to address that in free agency, but since they didn't, here we are, Gabe.
Yeah, but also I don't know what was necessarily even out there in free agency at those positions. There wasn't a ton that I think you could do to realistically upgrade. But I honestly, I would throw defensive end past need developmental players. I think you need a rookie contributor. You need somebody who's going to be able to step in and play some pretty significant snaps.
Which does that happen as rookies, though? I know the kid from the Texans, the rookie, I think he won Rookie of the Year.
Oh, Will Anderson a couple years ago? Again, a lot of those top 10 picks, Will Chew, yes. Obviously this year that guy is Abdul Carter out of Penn State. But, I mean, even if it's just a rotational player, like they need somebody who's going to step in. I'm not saying they're going to draft somebody in the first 2 rounds who's going to step in and have 10 sacks.
Well, they need to backfill that too, Gabe.
But whoever that is, they need at least to be playing 50% of the snaps at defensive end.
And they need to backfill, not tackle as well as the end, because there might be some changes next year. If they have another subpar year, there could be 3 starters that aren't going to be starters the following year.
Chew, I can't imagine they get, even if they have subpar seasons, they're not going to get rid of everyone because they just can't. Because they need bodies, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like just from a sheer like roster numbers standpoint, even if all the guys, Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary underperform, you just have to have some of those guys around because you're not going to be able to fill everything this draft.
Any chance the Packers still try to trade for Trey Hendrickson, or is that pretty much off the table now? Because now you're seeing reports that he could be trade bait during the draft.
How old is he?
Is he 30? Is that the trick question here?
That would be, yeah. Can't imagine Goody's going to be giving up a high draft pick to pay somebody who's 30.
What would he take? First and a second?
Probably less than that based on the amount of money he is seeking.
Okay.
Because if you come in and say, I want to be a top 3 paid guy, no team's going to go, okay, first and second round pick 2.
And the money,
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That's it. Just especially at that age. If he was 24, 5, then
farm.
People are lining up to do that. But,
can I ask you guys a question though about that position specifically? Doesn't it take a few years in the league before you become like a prolific like game changer at that position?
Depends. Some guys develop, like Hendrickson certainly, but like Chewy pointed out, like Will Anderson's a game wrecker. TJ Watt came in, was pretty good from the jump. Myles Garrett pretty good from the jump. A lot of these guys have been really good pass rushers from day one being in the league.
Even some of those high picks don't fully develop because they are such athletic and that's all they worked on, and that doesn't work in the NFL. Some of those guys take a couple years to fully see what it is, but I think plenty of guys do contribute, and even through the first 2 rounds, you'll see guys that end up just because some people haven't figured out. It's just they're further along in their development process.
I'm just wondering if that's a position where you can say we can make an exception to our quote-unquote age 30 rule because we have seen it takes a little bit longer at that position for guys to really pop. Again, I understand all the things you're saying. There are always going to be guys who right away have success. I just didn't know what the trend was.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe and I talked about Trey Hendrickson being, despite his age being a game that ages well, he's not super bendy. It's a lot of effort and speed to power, which even if he loses a little speed as he ages, he's still going to be pretty effective because he is so good at the position.
What they need to find is a KGB or an Aaron Campman.
But the problem is
later round picks that you can develop and turn into.
Yeah, I was about to say the problem with those guys, Chew.
Yeah.
It took time to develop.
It's going to take time for them to develop.
Because I think Camp probably had his first double-digit sack season in year 3 or 4.
Yeah.
You know, which I don't know if that makes you feel better about Lucas Van Ness or worse about him because Campman was a 4th-round pick and Van Ness was, top 15. So
yeah, I just don't see a lot of wiggle in him. And I don't know how you get wiggle. You either have wiggle or you don't have wiggle.
Let me throw this out there. Ryan from Aguanago says there is a new
I didn't have wiggle. I'm going to throw that out there right now there, too, in case you guys were wondering.
Get ahead of the lack of wiggle
I'm
accusations.
still getting over Gabe over here going wiggle, wiggle, wiggle like it's the wobble, wobble, wobble. New report is Packers trade for TJ Watt. So I did a little digging just in the last couple of minutes here. Yeah, he threw up a peace sign
Deuces.
while walking off the field on his Instagram story. He has 1 year left on his contract, and some Steelers beat reporters are saying keep an eye on the Watt situation in Pittsburgh. After talking to people, I'd keep an eye on this situation moving forward. It doesn't appear that the picture he posted was just by chance.
here's the problem with that, Jen.
30 in trade.
How old is TJ Watt?
He's 30.
He's 30 years old. I did not know this was going to be a part of today. I thought this is not like I'm at the carnival and it's like, can you guess the age within 4 years to win the stuffed animal?
I don't have a stuffed animal for you. I'm sorry. I can maybe give you a pen.
If I were to guess, he's doing the things that the thing that the Watt brothers all say they don't do. And that's trying to get more guaranteed money on their contract and extend their life where they are. If I were to guess. If we all remember him famously, I just want to get back to working out, despite him doing a hold-in and not participating.
My hamstring, it's a little tight. I don't know if I can practice today, guys. Oh, some new money just came in? Guess what?
Did you know that
Feeling
$100
better.
million heals hamstrings?
He'll a lot more than that.
Is that all it takes? What would a package even look like for a TJ Watt?
I don't even know enough about his
pick.
contract.
Yeah.
At 30, it's still a first.
It feels like
It's
a little
not.
bit more than
It's not going to happen because, and his brother teased this. Might have been on McAfee that something went awry. Remember the Packers were trying to land, or they assumed they were trying to land JJ, and he said something went down where he. You don't remember this?
I don't.
Why is,
You're giving us so many details.
he didn't fill in the blanks. He's just like. It was more of like Green Bay disrespected me before he went to the Cardinals,
Before he went to the
Arizona.
Cardinals?
I'm
Yeah.
sure they offered him probably the right amount of money because if we remember his time there, and the other teams overpaid for him, so he felt it was disrespectful, despite him not having much of a career with the Cardinals.
See, Gabe's about to be very, very excited. Like, how did you remember that? Because you're Googling it right now.
I am
aren't you?
Googling it right now.
And what's it say?
Some
get a
things
cookie.
sometimes don't materialize. Sometimes things don't happen in the way that fairy tales are supposed to happen.
I don't know if I can hit the choose right on this one.
That was with Adam Shine.
Seems a bit vague.
No, I'm right. I know I'm right. I know when I'm right. And I'm right. So you can trust me.
That famous last words.
You know who you can't trust? Somebody who says, yeah, you can trust me.
I'm right, I know it. Can't prove it, but I know it.
You know what, though? That is an absolute. If someone says to you, you can trust me,
Yeah, that's.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Kiss of death for whatever relationship that's in.